fancy.
Yeah, and upright. I was gonna high five you and be like, whack.
I don't know if it's that kind of podcast.
I mean, you know, this is how the chips fall. You know, this is nature and nurture at the same time. Okay. Upright, upright, and fancy, fancy. Upright, upright, and fancy. Upright, upright, and fancy, fancy. Upright, upright, and fancy. Starring
Carra
and Chris. Who?
Isn't he amazing? Chris Burke, ladies and gentlemen, and gender non-conforming cow people. I used to. Cow people sounds really offensive. Okay, I'm so sorry.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so where this comes from is I used to address like mass texts and like party invitations as like cowboys and cowgirls and like gender neutral cow people. And so that's where it came from. But then I was just like,
out of context.
That's a bold way to start a show. And I don't want anyone to feel that that we are not inclusive here at Upright and Fancy.
Of course, we are all people. We are all things, all genders, and all people.
I mean, I feel like the weirder you are, often the more I like you. And
right?
not, you know, again, not trying to use weird in a bad way. I'm trying to malign these fucking cow people out here with their agenda. No, I want to take this moment just to plug my friend EP Lee's art project. She has an incredible body of work, and she's a wonderful photographer on all kinds of fronts. But for the past several years, the Passion Project has been this trip. Well, it's not a trip, but it's coverage of many trips across the country, documenting trans parents, gender nonconforming parents, like masculine of center parents, and like showing these families and these love stories and things that just aren't often documented. And it's called Homemade. Yeah.
Crazy. That's fun.
We can link it in the show notes. But basically,
we have show notes. How exciting! Show notes.
It's just, it's one of those things that I look at and I'm like, this is God's work right here.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, so sorry, cow people. I hope everyone knows that we love them. And also, we are so excited to be doing our second episode.
Yes, we are on episode 2
oh my God.
of Upright and Fancy, where we talk about things that make me happy to be upright.
And fancy.
And fancy.
And yeah, we're just having a bit of a kiki. We're having a bit of fun.
Today has been a kiki.
Today has been. It has been quite a journey. We're delayed by possibly hours because I wouldn't stop talking about Beyonce.
Which is a way to spend hours. Come on. I mean, there's very little in this world that I personally could talk about for that long. And Beyonce's on that list.
I am.
And still be interested. Like, we could still be in there talking about her.
We really had to take like actual steps to like break from the conversation and come in here and have a new conversation. And I'm so glad that the two have dovetailed so beautifully, so quickly.
Yes.
But this is why we're such a great combination. And I feel evangelical about Beyonce, which is, I'm fine with it because I'm not a religious person. I'm not someone who needs other people to believe what I believe, with the exception of things about Beyonce. Like, if you don't think Beyonce,
that's the one thing.
Yeah, I
that's
feel
where
like
the judgment comes.
I mean, it's not like that's not my expressed intention, but I feel like inside when I try to settle on someone who I know is a smart, wonderful person saying something like, I don't know, I just don't really feel like I need to see Lemonade. Just like I can't love you And
Lemonade. I don't know. I feel I almost feel like lemonade is one of those things that like if you're not prepared for it, it might not hit right. So like I don't know because I was unprepared for it, but like if my two brothers watched it, like not everybody would feel the exact same way that we did. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So it's almost like when you learn to love coffee or something. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I think that the thing is that like to make a judgment about something like that before you've experienced it is absolute cuckoo bananas.
Especially that. Come on.
Yeah, because lemonade is like nothing else.
Yes.
And it's like, it's mastery on all of these levels. It is like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It's one of the smartest things you've ever seen. It sounds incredible. All the songs are great.
Yeah.
Also, all the references, all like the psychological value and like wisdom and like the way every single thing, like the social justice angle, the people that she highlights within, it is a masterpiece, and it is like nothing else. And so if you want to think that what Lemonade is, like you think it's about Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce, and then like people having to pay for Tidal, which like I understand, like it is something that like unless you see it, so I can't love you and value your opinion and not. Well, no, it's not about, like, the love is conditional. It's just, like, part of my love is saying, hey, let's sit down on this couch.
Yeah.
And I want you to see this.
That's why you're evangelical. You know what's funny? I up until
Have you heard the good news?
Yeah. Up until pretty much
tracks.
when you said that evangelical didn't mean Christian. I always thought that evangelical just was a Christian term.
Evangelize.
But your thing is that you want to go door to door. Like you feel so strongly about Beyonce that you want to speak the good word about Beyonce. That's evangelical.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think that like it
can go like if I really liked math.
Yeah, you can be evangelical about math.
Subtraction! Like, if I was speaking the good word of math.
And I would say, sir, I would like to direct you to Sesame Street. They'll love you. Yes. Also, why aren't you on Sesame Street? I just want to speak this into the universe. Because it is a wild world out there. And and it's just important to state your dreams, no matter how silly they are. One of my goals in life is to go to Sesame Street and to, like, be on Sesame Street.
I would love it.
Like any kind of a guest spot, just getting a moment with Cookie Monster.
A moment. Oscar.
Oh my God. Ernie?
Not Bert. What about Bert? You said
I married Bert, so it's fine.
You did.
I'm the Ernie, he's the Bert, we know it. I mean, we it's really funny because we have a child who is 3, and they're also, I'm a vintage Sesame Street enthusiast, and we, have played quite a few of these albums, and I think, with COVID and parenting, you stay inside too long, you're too isolated. Yeah. But we just started seeing so many of our patterns in like Ernie and Bert's behavior.
Did you? You felt seen when you watched Bert and Ernie?
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But yeah,
representation matters.
Yeah, so basically, you may not know who I am, and now all you know is that I love Sesame Street and Beyonce. And
wait, you're Bert or you're Ernie? You're Bert. He's Ernie.
What?
I don't know their personalities as well as I should.
Okay.
I just know them visually. So
sorry, I didn't mean to come down so hard. I just got all worked up talking about Beyonce.
It's all right.
It happens.
It does.
Also, there's a status that comes around on Facebook every once in a while. That's like however many years ago. It's like just a dialogue between Zach and I, like leaving a party, and it was just like, me like, Zach, did I talk too much about Beyonce? and Zach being like, no, I mean, maybe. and then just like a regretful silence. And they're just like, it happens after happened after many social situations.
That's so funny to have a text conversation about that too, though. That's funny to me. That's funny to me. Because you really get like, that would have made me pee my pants, I think, if I had seen that conversation.
It was, I felt very, I felt very, supported by my partner. He was trying, but it's we all have things we love if we're doing it right, if we're a little bit lucky in this life. And I feel like, okay, wait. We have, besides singing the song and doing this, have we talked about anything about what we're doing here?
No.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
No.
We've
gotten carried away. Okay. But only 10 minutes this time and not 30 minutes.
Oh,
so that's good.
Perfect. So that's about, okay, we were talking about how we are.
Yeah.
And I think that sums it up.
How are you part of the day is over with now. So
if you have
we
anything.
have concluded.
If you have any other updates to share, I don't give a shit.
That's hilarious.
I'm so glad we're doing this. I think you're amazing.
I think you're amazing.
I love being your friend.
I love being your friend.
And we had so much fun with the first one, and we're just feeling this out. And basically, we're just going to this is like a little. We're gonna kiki. We're gonna give some advice. It's for fun.
Hangout time.
Just like that bong that you bought is for tobacco use only. Any of our advice, or any kind of things that we suggest are for entertainment purposes only. So just we're just having fun here. Yep. So we thought we would
here to throw down.
We would
here to hang out with you.
With you, our friend. We have some questions that we're going to get out of a fishbowl and ask each other, and then we're going to take some advice questions.
Advice questions. Give us if you need advice from me or from her. If you're thinking I need advice from these two human beings. These two special, sparkly human beings need to tell me how I can live my life in this question, right? uprightandfancy@gmail.com.
Yes. We have a real email address. And if you want to be real fancy, you can record a voice memo and email it to that Gmail account.
That would be amazing.
And you could give us permission to play the audio.
Come on, it would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be amazing. And we won't give your name away or anything. Everything is anonymous, except if you choose to include your voice, we love to play it. And it can be silly, it can be sexy, it can be anything, because we're just, we love to talk and think about things, and we are just giving the whole world a gift right now.
Yeah, the gift
that no one asked for.
The gift of gab. We feel like we have a lot to say, but we also feel like the things that we talk about might soothe you in some way. Right?
Yeah, I think we're fun.
I feel soothed.
I don't know if I feel soothed, but I feel, but that's a good thing, because I feel jostled into reverie, maybe.
Okay. All right. So
could be the Adderall.
I will say, when you were talking about the bong, that's just for tobacco. It reminded me when I lived in Atlanta, and you could go to head shops, is what they were called, and you could get this or that kind of like off-center purchase that I can't really like pipes and stuff, incense and like crystals and things. But then in the back there would be pipes and bongs and but there was like, you cannot by law say pot, weed, marijuana, or like you can't call it a bong. You could like there were all these really hardcore, like really stringent things.
And you would get kicked out.
And you'd get kicked out. I literally was super stressed the whole time that I was in those stores, because I wanted to see them, but I also didn't want to be. So like whenever you'd buy something, you'd be like, so there's like a pink glass, that one, back to the left, that one. I mean, because I was just so afraid to be like, the pipe. You can't say pipe, whatever. I don't know.
Well,
they were very strict about things like that, which was very strange.
I think I first experienced this mainly in college, where like you're with a bunch of like other freshmen, and like I had a car and a fake ID, so I knew that even if I had yes. Wait, did you have a fake ID that was like a fully fake ID, or did you alter a real ID?
It was a real one.
Me too.
It was an actual real one. It wasn't even altered. It wasn't even altered.
Wait, you found one of someone that looked like you? Okay, we're gonna.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And we
subscribe to our Patreon for that information. No, I'm just kidding.
me admitting that I altered a document. It's very dumb.
No.
You want our advice. You trust me. But let me tell you,
it's the statute of limitations. Please continue. I totally messed you up.
I still have it because it was so
That's
good. It was my friend Emily and I. We did it together, and we used like photo transfer paper, and we like matched the exact font, and we like scratched off the numbers. They were really good fake IDs.
Back in the day, like you could get them. They didn't have to be super hardcore, but you could get really good ones. Like, they went to town on that shit.
I mean, it was helpful for my initial social life in college.
Yeah.
And I remember we would all like pack into my car and like we'd all go get piercings or something, and then we got like go to a head shop, and there was like such a whisper campaign of like, you can't say that. Or, like,
yeah.
And then of course like the people that work there like love to just like make fun of the children and like make it extra scary. And so I mean, I don't know. I feel like all the things around weed are just so silly, and I'm glad. Yeah, just absolutely. I mean, that's another topic for another time.
Yes.
But it's just maybe things I love. Beyonce, Sesame Street, and weed.
Yeah. And
Carra,
even just,
my name is Carra. anyone who wants to hire me.
uprightfancy@gmail.com.
And and now we have an Instagram, and we've got art, people. I'm sorry, I just clapped right into the mic. I'm so sorry. Anyone who was offended by that, I own it, and I will try not to do it again. And
I'll try. We will attempt.
I have impulse control issues.
No shame.
So anyway, I'm just not trying to make promises I can't keep at this stage in my life.
I get it.
But I don't even know. Oh yes. So
Good save. I'd forgotten to.
Lucas Antoniak, I believe is how you say his last name, made us some absolutely exquisite art. Oh my god, I am so excited. Should I just like?
Sure.
Can I do a little preview?
Well, it's going to be on the first. It's going to be on the. It'll be on the first one.
You've already seen it.
It's new to us, but not new to y'all because it was on the first episode and this episode. But it's new to us right now, and it's amazing. I'm so excited about it.
Yes.
So excited.
And it's. Oh my god. So I met this artist. He lives, or at the time, he lives out in Smithville, Tennessee, which is like this lovely kind of artist colony, like lake country area. And there was a artist workshop tour where you went to like, people's actual studios, and, they were selling their wares, and it was really interesting. And he had some lovely art that I bought, and he and I started talking about children's book, the art in children's books, another thing that I'm passionate about. And we were talking about Maurice Sendak, like just so enthusiastically. And I was like, I just love you. Anyway, so years later, he was an obvious choice to reach out to create something special.
For our podcast art.
Yeah. And so, of course, we will link all of his stuff. There's just, you're so burpy.
I'm so burpy. Sorry, Becky.
I mean, Becky. No one's trying to see Becky. It's
Poor
fine.
Becky. Oh, I'm sorry. I burped on Becky. Okay.
Wait, it's okay. We should do some fishbowl.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Is we should go to the fishbowl. Ding, 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 fishbowl.
So who wants to be the first picker?
You want to pick one?
Sure.
And then we can either both talk about it, or if you're feeling fancy, or if I'm feeling fancy.
Oh, okay.
Fishbowl.
Ooh.
There's no telling. First of all, this fishbowl is filled with mayhem and foolishness. There's weird questions, thought-provoking questions, and nothing questions. And also my penmanship is poor on these as well.
I love it. I think that whether this is something that is a deep well of a question that you can really like settle into, like a deep bathtub, or just a passing fancy, it's really the eye of the beholder. But we've got ideal chapstick flavor, ladies and gentlemen. We just fill bowls with random things, and you love it.
Yeah. Okay. So in this fishbowl, even though I can't write, it says ideal chapstick flavor.
I could read it. I thought it was my handwriting, honestly.
Did you?
You know, we actually
It
had...
could have been, I guess.
We had a little party over here where it was just, you guys magically had party favors that were flavored. You bought that?
I went to the dollar store or whatever, not the Dollar Tree, but the one that's up here, Dollar General. Mm-hmm. And they had a big old thing, and it was all sodas. So it was Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Cherry Pepsi, 7-Up, root beer, Mountain Dew, which is amazing, orange Fanta, grape Fanta,
Cherry Mountain Dew.
Cherry Mountain Dew. I think I had Cherry Mountain Dew.
I think you did. I got regular Mountain Dew. It's basically one of the things that we did very enthusiastically here at Totally, absolutely sober.
Also in a fishbowl. Didn't we close our eyes and reach and you got what you got?
Yes, they had this amazing multi-pack of flavored chapsticks that reminded me so much of my youth. I really wanted a Dr. Pepper one, but it was not in the package. I'm just going to bring that up now just to be a little shit. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it may have not been in there, or we may have stolen it first.
We
probably took it. There probably was one. Or Mr. Pibb.
Ew.
I mean, a chapstick Mr. Pibb would be
who says fuck yeah to Mr. Pibb? I think it's the first time it's happened in human history. Mr. Pibb, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Mr.
There's
Pibb.
something about Mr. Pibb, how sweet and gross and I feel like it was backwoods. Like, I feel like it was kind of like bathroom.
Mr. Pibb?
Yeah, Mr. Pibb. It was like Dr. Thunder.
But Dr. Thunder makes sense. There is action.
True.
There is,
okay. Mr. Pibb, you're right.
Mr. Pibb?
I enjoyed Mr. Pibb, but I also really loved Cheerwine was North Carolina.
You cannot compare Mr. Pibb and Cheerwine, my friend.
But the sweetness of Cheerwine, growing up with that, Mr. Pibb made kind of sense. I don't know. I mean, I prefer Dr. Pepper, but Mr. Pibb was like the Tanya Harding to Nancy Kerrigan's Dr. Pepper. To me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You found a way in. Okay.
I feel the same way as Tanya Harding, where there was a moment before Tanya beat up Nancy Kerrigan.
No, she didn't do it.
She's like Gypsy Rose. She was an accessory to the crime. There was a moment before that when she landed a triple axel in a U.S. championship, and I think she may have even won gold. But she was the first woman ever to land a triple axel. And when she finishes, she goes like it's the best thing that she could have ever done in her whole life. It was like almost like because you could tell she went like, I just did that. And she was the shit for a hot minute. Tanya Harding was the shit. Then all that went down, and she was also like a foil to Nancy Kerrigan's like perfect princessy look.
So much class signaling. It was like there so much of the hatred of Tanya Harding is about because she was fucking poor.
Yeah.
And she was excluded from so many circles and figure skating despite her talent.
Freaking like, I wanted her. I just was so team
Tanya.
her. I was so team her. And then all that went down, and I was no longer team her.
Why?
But because I don't know. Like
it wasn't even. Have you ever listened to the You're Wrong about Tanya Harding? Motherfucker. Okay, so one of my favorite podcasts, and so many other people, is You're Wrong About, and it is the inception of that podcast, which is it kind of like goes back and revisits a lot of like sort of maligned women of the 90s and different things.
Specific to maligned women.
Well, not always, but it is a common theme. But it like goes back, and it's a more like well-rounded story, and it's also a really lovely conversation, and you feel like you're talking to your smartest friends, and it's just lovely.
It's cool. I like that.
And
like this.
Yeah, exactly like this. It's exactly like this. Thanks for saying it, so I didn't have to. But yes.
Tanya Harding.
Oh my God, rich text, Tanya Harding. So we'll get back to that for sure. But I feel like you did a masterful job of reaching me with this, because at first I was just so mad that you compared Cheerwine to Mr. Pibb, because Mr. Pibb is a derivative of Dr. Pepper. It is. And Cheerwine is its own animal.
I agree. I fully agree with
that. But I think
I just meant level of sweetness. Like if
it's gross.
If you just, I mean, but like
It's
now
all
it's
gross.
gross. But at the time it was like, hell yeah. But I also ate Fun Dips all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so sugar was like a thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you were young, your taste is absolute garbage.
Like, but also, I wanted my like taste buds to explode 24/7 back then. Like, I was just like, give me all of the craziest, tiniest, sugariest, oh my god, flavors. Like, one chip too many now, salty chip too many, and I'm like, oh, my mouth hurts. I'm such a wuss about things. Literally like salt and sodium, and my mouth is like, or too much fruit. Like on chips, I'll have too much pineapple. I'll have too much pineapple, my mouth hurts from it.
It's like, do you remember, it was a poem that I think a lot of people like learned in like high school English. It was like J. Alfred Prufrock, I think, where it's like it's about mortality and aging, and he's like talking about like, dare I eat a peach, you know? And it's just like, I feel like at the time, you know, this is being taught to like, you know, a 16-year-old high schooler, Alabama, and you're just like, what the fuck? What kind of white nonsense is this? Dare I eat a peach? And then you turn fucking 40 and you're like, dare I eat a peach?
No.
You know? Like, but you must continue. Eat those peaches. Gather ye rosebuds. Also, wait, we never talked about our...
Oh yeah, okay, so what is your ideal chapstick flavor? That was that was the original fishbowl.
Yes, we all went around and picked, closed our eyes and picked with our hearts from the chapsticks. And I got Mountain Dew, and I have to say I loved it.
I really think Mountain Dew and then the Orange Mountain Dew, which I think I got the Orange Mountain Dew. It might be over there somewhere. I feel like those are the winners because they're the most different. Although I have to say, I expected we got the leftovers. I expected to have that root beer be better than it was.
Yeah, that didn't quite slap.
And I was not expecting the diet Pepsi to be as amazing as it is.
Yeah, and
Those two I was thrown.
Toby was like standing the diet Pepsi before we even started. He was like, this is gonna be the dark horse.
It was. He called that. That was good on him.
So I think the moral of the story here is that you can make your own fun, whatever the circumstances. If you have the right people in your life, a Dollar Tree pack of chapsticks can be it. I mean, I think I haven't tried the Dr. Pepper in a long time, but I have to say when I think about nostalgic, I wasn't trying to twist the knife there. What I would think, when I think about nostalgic things, it's definitely the like Dr. Pepper lip balm. Kind of waxy bullshit. Okay, so to me, just for fuck's sake, shits and giggles, a Mr. Pibb one randomly would be kind of fun, or an RC Cola one. You know what I mean? Like just to have a random. I feel like Mr. Pibb is more like RC than Cheerwine. How's that? I would love a Cheerwine one. RC Cola.
A Cheerwine one would... How did I not think of a Cheerwine one? Clearly, we were just talking about that.
I would also love like a really spicy ginger ale. Like a ginger beer kind of a... If anyone wants to make a ginger beer...
Lip balm. So, two of my favorite words. Not ever, but maybe like right now. Balm. Salve.
Ooh, salve.
Toby just got a new salve.
I saw him salving himself.
He was salving himself up. He salves his heels and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you know, we're getting older, so shit dries up and it hurts. And so like we'll salve all kinds. I put all kinds of shit on my face that I never did before.
Fun dip. The next day you're salving.
One day that was loud.
You are very percussive.
It happened again. I am very percussive. That's more pant than thigh, just so you know. Okay, so what's my ideal one? I think I might... The two that I got that time were really good. I've had...
People are on the edge of their seats. They're like, we just narrow it down.
I know, right? So my top 100 are in no specific order.
We're going to take a BuzzFeed quiz of which lip balm flavor are you, and then we'll report back.
If I got... Yeah, right. Can someone else make this decision for me? If I got the really frothy A&W root beery that I wanted to get from the root beer that we got from that, if it could be like a straight up root beer where it's like that whole flavor, I think root beer.
I think you need a Barks. Do they make a Barks?
If they do, that's the one.
Yeah.
they do, that's my deal. Although the ones that I got that night, I think I got Diet Pepsi. Toby may have gotten cherry Pepsi. And then I also had an orange Mountain Dew, which I remember being upset about because I had just already gotten an orange one from something else. So I was like, of course, I reach in the little kitty pile and I pull out the same flavor that I already had. Okay, next one.
Oh my God, what is it going to be?
80s or 90s music?
Oh, wait. Fuck binaries. 80s or 90s music?
Only, like, this is not saying this is the end-all be-all. But maybe, like, as a point of... I was just going to take it out of your hands.
No, I don't know why.
What if I was
I'm
what if I was like, this is precious? No, but only for sake of argument, do you prefer 80s music or 90s music?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Not in a binary way.
Yeah. You know, it's hard. I've been listening to a lot of 80s music lately because my daughter, who is 3, over last summer, it has been going on since last summer, really attached to this song by the Thompson Twins called Hold Me Now. Would you like to sing a little?
Hold me now.
Yes.
Oh, hold my heart, hold my cold and tired heart. Oh my God, I love that song. Stay with me,
Okay,
stay with
you
me.
already
I love that song.
are singing it so much. I sing it to her as a lullaby every night, and it is.
I'm
really,
sure you do a lovely job. I'm sure it means more to her than if.
But just the recall that you had for even like the little like intonations is like so much, just worlds above. And when I am like fully living in Hold Me Now, I
would love to see you fully living and Hold Me Now singing to her.
God.
That's hilarious.
We have one of those spying devices in our homes, the Alexa things, and at dinner. So, dinner is a fraught time for toddlers. Oh. And so a lot of times it's just like she's just screaming, "Hold me now! Hold me now!" And so it was just like,
that's
and
her
then
thing.
Just like trying to, she's like verbalization is still coming together. And so there's a lot of like, she's trying so desperately to say, "Alexa, hold me now." But she's like, and it is this.
That's so funny to be obsessed with that song.
That song, and it's very.
You've learnt her well. If that's her favorite song, you've done a good job in that upbringing. She
just like, I remember we had a very very eventful and hard year last year, and we were doing some stuff in a hotel. That sounds dirty. We were.
It wasn't dirty at all.
Actually, it wasn't. Not this time. And so we she just kept like, when you're traveling with a toddler or something, just hold me. And she just kept like yelling, "Hold me now." And I was like, oh, I know a song you're going to love. And I had no idea what I was doing. But anyway, so that has opened. Yeah. And then because of Spotify, not a sponsor, but maybe one day, making decisions, Hold Me Now is then, it's
logarithm.
Yes.
Sets you in motion.
Yes. And so, and I enjoy some 80s music for sure. And my husband really does not, I have found. There's something about
he does not like 80s music?
There's something about a production aspect that is like nails on a chalkboard to him. So while
I guess I can see that.
I mean, there are a lot of choices made in the 80s, not all of them good.
But most of them made out of necessity because they didn't have access to 25,000 sounds or 25,000 studios.
Yeah, it was emerging technology.
It was emerging technology. So choices were made out of it being like, "Ooh, this is cool," as opposed to, "Oh my God, how great it sounds." Yeah,
and,
understood. That makes sense.
And also, the 80s, they were an interesting time. But I think, when I hear like "Hungry Like the Wolf," like I feel joy in my heart.
Me too.
And for a lot of people, I think there's something about the 80s like sound profile or aesthetic or something that they just cannot enjoy. And I do enjoy it. But I have to say, if I'm going to have to choose, I would say 90s music, because while I love a lot of 80s songs, I feel like a lot of artists that had good songs in the 80s had better music in the early 90s. And I think that, and also I think I had so many like formative memories as I was like.
That's mine.
Yeah.
That's my thinking. Because if I had to choose, I mean, like the 90s, of course, are like more of a breathy female stuff. You get like Sheryl Crow and Sarah McLachlan and who you just said that I can't. Who were we just talking about? But like you get all these like Alanis Morissette. You get whatever. Mm-hmm. So the 90s is filled with all these like really fun like songwritery Paula Cole and all those things.
And you had a lot of really interesting like grunge and shit and some really like...
It was a changing of the guard for sure.
Yes. I think that there was a lot that was like... There were things that were subversive in the 80s that were really fun with like gender bend and that kind of stuff.
Totally.
And I really appreciated that. But the stuff in the 90s that was subversive, like just going super weird. Like, one thing I would so recommend everyone does is go back and watch that old John Waters movie, Serial Mom.
Yes. It's a great movie. And
on rewatch, even... just perfection, like just chef's kiss on all fronts. The most amazing. It's just so. Anyway, there are so many things about like the weird subversive part of the 90s, and then of course with like a lot of like Nirvana and kind of independent music of that time. But then you also have like amazing fucking songs by like Prince, and it just and so I have to say, but also I think that it's all biased, and I just think I have more complicated memories and relationships with 90s music.
So that's actually what I was going to say as well, because the 90s has some incredible stuff and formative years for me. But the 80s were like, in the 80s, there wasn't much other than music and sitcoms that were happening media-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I lived out in the country. You lived in Panama. But
Germany.
And freaking Germany. What? So I lived out in the country, and so I jumped on the trampoline and I listened to music. And did we talk about my trampoline last time?
I don't know.
I have a trampoline story I'll circle back to. But to me, I'd have to choose the 80s because I connect more with the 80s. I think because I'm 10 years older than you are. Mm-hmm. So maybe my that like and like I feel like every 10 years is formative years. Literally like the past 10 years have been formative years. But there's something about 4 to 14.
Absolutely.
Or like that or like
yes.
when you first start to catch on to 10 years later. Like there's something about that time.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why the 80s hit me more. The 90s were such a weird time for me. I came out.
Yeah.
I like went my entire high school and college was all in that 10 year in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was very weird change in the world and being gay meant something else. I don't know. I just think I stick with the 80s because of my age range in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
No, I think that really makes sense. If you could pick it doesn't have to be the final answer because that would be impossible. But just if you want to just cherry pick an example of one of your favorite songs from the 80s, what would it be?
Martika. Step by step, heart to heart, left, we all fall down like toy soldiers. Don't tell me you don't know that song.
I don't think I do. I don't think I do.
So Martika was in a show. Her name is Martika. She was in a show, which I didn't get cable until I moved to Birmingham, which was 9th grade. So I didn't have cable up until 9th grade.
Wow.
And, we had nothing. Like,
did you have like a local channel that came in on the bunny ears or something?
Yeah, no, we had like bunny ears and we had whatever to get like you didn't even need bunny ears. You just had whatever local channel, whatever the thing was on them.
Oh yeah.
On the house or whatever back in the day. So I didn't get cable till then, but I did get to watch at other people's house. And by the time in 9th grade I started to watch stuff, I went back and I was able to go back and watch some, like a Nickelodeon. They showed some stuff. So there was a show called Kids Incorporated, which was I think Fergie. I might be getting my shows mixed up, but I feel like Fergie may have been on that show too. But Martika was a star on Kids Incorporated, and it was like a bunch of kids, and they just went around and sang and danced and did skits and did whatever.
We're exploited.
But essentially. But I was enamored by her. She had the best voice. She was really like cool looking and like dark hair and kind of a tomboy, little short hair.
Yeah.
But she had a great voice. So then she co-wrote, I just found out, Toy Soldiers, which was huge, and it's dark, and there's like a kid choir in it. Like there's something. It's a really cool 80s song. So that would be one of my top ones. But another one that was just like with me. You can answer that.
No, I'm sorry. My phone is on a chair, and so even though it's on silent, it's making noises when
But she has a 3-year-old, so you are welcome. You are invited to make sure that things are okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay,
I'm gonna be a little selfish with my time at this moment, and she's fine.
Okay.
It would be a call if she was.
I just want to make sure.
I'm so interested in this. That sounds. One thing that's so fun about the 80s is there were so many amazing weirdo concept things.
It was raw. Like people were just wanted to be colorful, and they wanted to be the craziest looking.
And it was like the birth of the music video, this whole other medium that really, I mean, it added this whole dimension to music that was absolutely transformative, and people were making it up from the jump. And so a lot of the early stuff was really weird.
Yeah.
And interesting.
It was.
And like
people still to this day try to capture that. There's an entire virtual instrument on my Pro Tools that is based on da 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 the beginning of Van Halen Jump. Like there's an entire thing that's just based on that. Like, and there's all the different sounds. So everybody's trying to recreate those sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know a song, another 80s song that is for some reason quintessential to me? Do you need to answer, or are you good?
No. Okay, I moved it so that it would no longer make that sound.
Okay.
Because my thighs can absorb the vibration better than the chair. Not to brag.
My thighs enjoy absorbing. I don't know what's happening.
We can add that part. They can, and they enjoy it.
Reach us at uprightandfancy@gmail.
Do you...
The other song. The other song. Okay, so there's a random group called T'Pau, and they had one song that was big in the U.S. I've now found out that they have more songs that were big everywhere else because they were not American. Give a little bit of heart and soul. Give a little bit of love to grow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. And like the middle, there's like a little like talking rap, and there's a girl with a thicker alto-y voice that apparently is the same girl, and she just has a crazy higher register in her voice. But anyway, for some reason that song, those two songs are the first one to pop out.
Okay, I love that, and I love that both of them are like not. They're just not the first thing that I would think about, and I love those answers. Good. I think that I like, even though I didn't grow up with cable until we moved to Alabama.
Me neither.
So many strange similarities that are coming out.
Cable, not till Alabama. Oh my God. Yeah.
And
Samesies.
And so when we were living in Germany for about 5 years, and there was one channel that was like Armed Forces Network, and it was like just to cover all bases, and like 15 minutes of cartoons, and the Cosby Show or whatever, whatever they could put together and they could afford to put into one channel that you could see in English.
That makes sense. Okay.
And then you could see some German television, but it didn't come in very clearly. And it was
in German.
Yes, and I am.
And you were like 9. Just wanted to say that.
I like it. It's perfect. Sorry, now I just been thinking about funny German words.
Yeah.
There's so many funny German words. Okay, and so my grandpa was a mensch, and he lived in Texas, and he was retired, and he loved gadgets, and it was the age of VCR programming, and all of a sudden it was like attainable to like buy a VCR, tape things off TV, and like put them on tapes that were like didn't cost $1 million.
For anyone that is super young, that doesn't make any sense to you at all. Like, and not even super young. Like probably 25, 26 doesn't really understand when things all of a sudden became accessible. Like you could actually record stuff.
I mean, absolutely. Like the like we had a Betamax before that, and like that was like super expensive and hard to use. Anyway, VHS tapes. My grandpa was the best, and he would send us a TV guide, and we would highlight things that we would want to watch, and then he would send us boxes of tapes of American TV.
Oh my God.
And
that he would record on VHS?
Yeah,
he would self-record? He would do it for you?
Well, yeah, he did. He loved to program the VCR. It was like one of his things. So he loved his like paperback westerns, programming the VCR.
Programming the VCR is something that children will never understand.
It's true. And so...
I mean, you know, it's just because we're fucking old.
But it was, yeah. And
I love that, though.
And so it was this, and I was the youngest child, and so my parents just, like, fully did not give a fuck about what I was seeing or doing at that point. Because it's like, you know, basically it's like, Carra will keep herself entertained, you know, if you... Did. Yeah, if you provide her with the ability to put a tape in a VCR and have some toys... I'm good. I'm fine. And that was valued. And so there weren't a lot of questions asked. And so I saw all kinds of things I shouldn't have seen. But I
American TV though is what those videos were.
And there was so much early MTV. And I so wish that those tapes hadn't been damaged because I mean I watched so many music videos and like
We'll watch stuff on here because there will be like 90s Julie Brown, downtown Julie Brown.
Yes.
It'll be whole segments of that show with not Soul Train, but it was like MTV Jams or something like that. And she's like oi 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 or whatever, oogie oogie oogie, whatever it is she used to say. But like it's whole segments of the show. It's so fun to go back and like we're watching all these specials on Soul Train and stuff. It's it's fun to remember that the first time you ever saw like, that and like
things being novel, you know, like it's just
which is probably why the 90s was big for you and because it was novel. Yes, to me, it was novel to you. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that the music and like when MTV used to actually be like a place where you watched music videos, and then you know eventually you know like the grind and then like 120 minutes and like all the fucking weird animation shit they would do at night. And then, I mean, it was just the best education.
Weird, I'm sure.
And especially...
You saw all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was such a good education. And I feel like I just, it was really one of my favorite things about my childhood. And I know there's so much talk about screen time and how terrible it is. But I have to say, if you kind of have a little bit of a shitty childhood... Screen time can really, it can really be quite a beautiful thing where you just get to, obviously it doesn't create the best habits, but you get to learn so much about the world.
In a big way. In a big way. And it can also keep your attention.
Yes. And then you can, I love that like you can see all these different things and then kind of decide how you feel about things.
Yeah.
And because especially like as a kid, there's so much of like, this is the pill you're supposed to swallow about this.
Yeah.
And when you're just sort of seeing this like gamut of different things related to a, you know, like whether it's like, you know, how to make jokes and be funny or like, you know, like, the weird scandals and like current events and things like that, all the different things. It's just it's so interesting to just be able to like have a wide sample as a kid because most kids just don't get that. So anyway, if your kid watches too much TV, stop beating yourself up is what I have to say. And
it's a good medium to introduce a lot of information.
And you know, and then people are gonna cancel the advice podcast, and you're like, let your children watch television, anything they want. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of advice, we have...
oh my God, we have to get to the advice.
We have 11 minutes, and I feel like we should try to wrap in the hour. So we have 11 minutes. We can do this.
We can do this.
You
guys aren't going to hear about my 90s song, but that's fine.
Well, no. Oh,
I'm kidding.
No. What's your... Okay, so if you have a favorite 90s song, since 90s is your favorite, and I gave you two options in the 80s, what would yours be from the 90s? Like the two 90s songs that are
quickest one that comes to mind. I have to say one of my favorite 90s songs is it's a little known classic by Nirvana from the Bleach album called Negative Creep. and the lyrics are mostly just, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, I'm a negative creep, and I'm stoned. And it brings me so much joy, and always has.
Come on, that's quality.
And I feel like it's just, that's one of the things that I think it's just like this, yeah, I'll just cherry pick that little weirdo.
I like that. That's all right. I cherry picked mine.
Okay, so we have some advice.
Advice.
And
we are advice, upright and fancy advice columns, right? So I don't know what's happening. But
I don't. We just are talking, and we hope you like it, because this is. I mean, the things, how hard things used to be to do, and now it's just like we just feel like it, and so let's just send this anywhere in the world. And if there are 2 of you, or there are like 25,000 of you, like, we love you and we value you.
We do. You are valued.
Let us know what you want from us. Also, like, if you enjoy hearing us ramble, we can do that all fucking day. But if you want us to
chop it up, to like cinch it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Wait. Cinch. You and the cinching.
I know, the cinching. I remember the Panama Canal. I really wanted it to be cinched.
You really did. I think you need to reject those beauty standards.
I watched too much drag show. Drag show? Drag material.
I watched too much drag show.
I watched too much drag show. We saw a drag show today.
We did.
And it was lovely. It was
Veronica Electronica.
Yes.
She has a Rolling Stone interview that just came out, right?
Yes. I have her t-shirt, and I wanted her... next time I'm going, she's signing it for me. Right here in the nips. Right between the nips. Go from nip to nip. That's what I want. Veronica Electronica.
Well, maybe you should just take off your shirt and have her do it, and then you could get it tattooed.
I don't think she wants what I got.
Don't make assumptions.
She might. She might like man boobs and fur.
I like man boobs and fur. I am.
There's a market for everything.
I mean, among other things. You do not have man boobs.
I just like to do it. I'm good.
I feel like every time you say cinched, I just imagine like Scarlett O'Hara and like just a horrible scene of her, like, you know,
getting
cinched up by her servant.
Meanwhile, is that in the movie Gone with the Wind?
Oh yeah,
because I've never seen it.
You've never seen Gone with the Wind?
Nor have I read the book or anything. I don't know anything about anything.
Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna have to revisit this.
I went to a high school with a girl named Melanie, whose brother was named Rhett, though. Like that, and they were great people. If you're listening, Melanie Lyerly was in my class, and she's amazing. By the way,
Melanie and Rhett, what a weird, because they
brother sister. I know. I don't know. Were they not brother sister in the book movie?
So I think that was
Were they together?
Okay. They were not together.
Were they romantic?
Well, no, I was just trying to. So I was just trying, because it has been a minute. I don't eat, sleep, and breathe Gone with the Wind, but I do. I have enjoyed it.
Other than Gone with the Wind, fabulous.
Another.
That was a Real Housewives of Atlanta. She said, "I'm Gone with the Wind, fabulous."
That's right.
Was that the right?
I believe so. I feel like It
was Kenya, when Kenya's like first year on board.
I'm gonna have to trust you on that, yes, but okay. I really appreciate it.
I derailed you, but she said, "Gone with the Wind, fabulous."
No, that's good. I wanted to know because I really appreciate all Gone with the Wind is fascinating. It honestly is, but it's also fucked up, problematic as fuck. But Rhett and Melanie were not together, and they were also not siblings. It's just an interesting. Yeah. I just was trying to place it.
I don't know.
I wouldn't want. I wouldn't want to name any child after a character in that movie. But I am going to something that we were talking about with cinched and Gone with the Wind. Oh, if you want to cinch, do you, as a viewer, tell us, do you want us to get in full corsets and then also just like lace up each other's corsets and make sounds about it?
And anything is possible. I think Violet Chachki, who is like,
oh my god,
talk
about snatch, Violet. That just looks painful.
So what I was going to say.
Sorry, everyone.
We are in either the next episode or the one after that. We're going to bring Toby in here, and we are going to watch and discuss old 90s, not 90s, I guess it would be 90s drag shows that he was either a part of or in some way, or choreographed something, or he's dancing in one video. And he has all these things to say about it, and it is amazing, and it's going to be super interesting. That's either next episode or the one after that. I'm not sure what, but that's going to be a viewing party, and we're going to watch that, and it's going to be amazing.
We have so many wonderful plans for you. If you like hearing us talk, oh my God.
You're in for it. If you do, it's on.
It is
because we like to talk, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that there are a few pleasures in this wicked world. So you know, if if anyone else enjoys our pleasure in this, then fuck yeah. Okay, so we have
Okay, I was just
questions. Or no?
Yeah, I was going to say we're going to do one. We're going to do an advice question here to end, and then we'll be done. So this will be the last thing that we do. We have advice. If anybody needs advice, we have an email. What is it?
uprightandfancy@gmail.com.
uprightandfancy@gmail.com. And here is a question from a viewer.
A listener, a viewer,
a listener.
Although I have to say that when we were at the drag show, I floated the idea of what if we got a mechanical bull for the podcast, and then I remembered that it's mostly an audio medium, and so I wanted to know if it would be. And then I just laughed so hard I started coughing on you, and I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So
That's
anyway,
all right. I mean, and we might need a mechanical bull at some point.
I mean, maybe it
wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
I have been on one before. It's not my first rodeo.
I have not.
Oh, well, we'll have to put a pin in that. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I just want to say real quick is that we got a hilarious question from a friend that just saw our artwork for the first time, and asked if it was a podcast about ketamine. Because of the horses. And I just want to say, I just want to, I just want to give a little slow clap for that. And then, but
deserved slow clap. Like that's pretty great.
Yeah. Hats off to you. And, okay, so we have a few wonderful questions.
Wonderful.
One is, how do I get off the phone with a friend who has no boundaries? I say clearly I need to go, but then they don't stop. Do I just hang up? This is a tough one.
It is a tough one.
And this is something family
dynamics.
I have a couple friends, but it's mostly family that does this. And it is very hard. And I also, at first, I felt personally attacked because the person who submitted this question is a close personal friend I have long conversations with.
She's like, is this passive aggressive?
I was just like, we can talk plainly to one another. They're
going to use whatever we come up with on you next time you'll talk. What if?
What if?
That would be so funny.
You know what? It's fair. It's fine. She knows she can just hang up on me though. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I think there are just so many times where you're trying so hard to wrap up the conversation, and there is, you keep, at first, the first instinct is to, okay, maybe if I echo what you say and you hear that you're understood, we can wrap it up. But then it just becomes like this, like adding on. It's like they want to be add the last thought. So anything you say, they have to add another thought. So then you just stop talking, you stop responding, and in a way where you're adding anything, and you start like sounding a little more distracted, being like, oh, well, it's good to talk to you, and like stuff like that. Yeah. And they're just not getting it.
Wrap up. The
cues.
Thanks. Cues, yes.
And so it's just, but it's so hard when like you go through so many things and nothing is working. What do you do in that situation?
So if it's personally, honestly, I usually would, if I know myself in this situation, I probably would just go along with it and just let them talk, and just find something else to say, or maybe like try to change the subject as opposed to finish the conversation. Finagle your way into something else. Now, it is giving me a little PTSD because I was just on a ship, and there was a very sweet young guest on board, cruiser, and he was talking to me about music, and I was it was late, and it was the night before I had to leave the next morning, and I had to finish packing, and I had like things that I it was the first, I don't necessarily always feel rushed on a cruise ship, but I was feeling this a little bit. And the conversation, first of all, his parents were over there, and he was like, hey, oh my God, I saw your show and I loved it. And I was like, that's so sweet, and I loved it. It was amazing. And as the conversation went on, the parents bailed. I thought the parents were going to come get him and take him off, so the parents bailed. And I just realized that there was not a lot of social cue understanding from this person.
Yes.
And it was 20 minutes of pummel of information.
Well, when you're in person, it's way harder. Walking away from someone is harder than like having some kind of phone fuck up, where you're just like, oh God, I'm sorry, I've got to go,
Someone in the line, no, but like, and I couldn't, and I work. I like, but I mean, that's my job. Like I'm there because I'm working there. And so I can't have it. See, I almost got panicked, like, which is such a weird old man thing, but I was like, because every time I did all the wrap up things, and nothing.
Yes.
But like personally wise, you either have that relationship with someone that you can shut it off or not. You either are like, dude, I gotta pee. Like, I don't want to pee. I don't pee with you on the phone or whatever. Like, or this is, I gotta go,
I think it's totally fine to, after a lot of like people pleasing and getting it wrong and doing all kinds of things. I saw the best meme the other day that's like, oh, you're a people pleaser? Name 3 people that are pleased with you. That's funny. That's a tough one. But I think that like as trying to do this from so many angles, there are just so many things you can't control for. And so the only thing you can control is what you do. And so as long as you can figure out how to like state a boundary and then kindly just enforce that boundary, because one thing that a lovely therapist, retired now, Judy, up in Greensboro, North Carolina.
We love Judy.
I love you, Judy. She was my Judy.
She was your Judy.
She would always remind me, Carra, a boundary is not a boundary if you change it because it makes someone uncomfortable. And so... True. Ouch. Yeah. And I remember one time she was telling me about, like, she was encouraging me to uphold this boundary with someone in my family, and then I did, and it went horribly wrong. And then I went back to therapy the next time, and I was like, I did, and they really didn't like it. And she was like, yeah, I didn't tell you they would like it. People don't often like it. And I was like, oh, I just thought if I was really trying that it would just, that they would.
Being naive is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
That was fun.
The times when I thought if I could just say something a perfect way.
Yeah.
That it would
just fix it.
Yeah, like that, and that was the problem. That like the onus was on me. I couldn't articulate it well enough to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Wow. But so basically, when it just gets to a point where there has been a lot of repetition and there's just and I'm starting to go stir crazy.
And you're doing the wrap up, and the panic is setting in.
I just try to come like, oh, I've been having so much fun. But I really have to go, basically just like, it can be, I don't care about white lies, I have a terrible headache, or like, oh, my daughter just fell down, or like, you can even say like, I gotta go hump the fridge. I don't give a shit. Yeah. But just as long as you feel solid in it and you don't feel like it's shitty, you can just be like, hey, I gotta go right now, but I had so much fun, and I'll see you soon. Let's talk soon. And then just hang up before they can get a word in. And it's not hanging up, but it is saying like, this is really what I've got to do, and I'm not being mean, but I'm being clear. Yeah. And if they get mad at you for that, then that's a signal of a problem in their relationship. And if you're in public, especially like as a woman, not saying, I mean, obviously you get hit on a lot too, but like there's like growing up trying to figure out those boundaries with like randos talking to you and you not knowing what their intentions are and trying to not be rude and I have red hair and like people always come up and say the most awkward things. Like I was just trying to get a fucking a Greek salad the other day and this man just sidled up to me and like, your hair, that real? And I was like, ugh. And he was like, you mean like, is that like natural? And I was like, yeah. Get it from... And
go back to Congress, sir.
And he was like, I was. I can tell. And I was like, I truly need you to do some evaluation about what needs to be said out loud before.
Yeah.
But you're just trying to figure out, like, I don't want to be rude. Some people are just being, but like the whole thing with in an in-person thing, I used to stay in conversations so much longer when people were being so inappropriate just because I was like trying to figure out how to navigate it.
Maneuver it, yeah.
And then now it's just like a judgment call and then like clear boundary, and if it's not observed, just enforcing that boundary kindly and moving right along.
I mean, it's easier said than done, but that's definitely the thing.
Absolutely.
That's
you have to,
but like you having an idea of what your boundary is what matters.
Exactly, because that's the thing is like for such a long time.
Somebody else can handle yours.
Yeah, like for such a long time, I feel like I just did not understand what where my boundaries were, so it was very hard to enforce them.
Yeah.
And so I think the more sure you are of yourself, the more you can do it kindly, and also like kind of just without a lot of fanfare. I you might have guessed, can be very long-winded, like right now when you're looking at me like we are over.
No, I'm not looking at you like that.
No, you could be though.
I could. I mean, theoretically, I could be too. You could be looking at me like that too.
Mm-hmm. I only look at you with rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you're just trying to figure shit out, and you are so unclear of your own, you're just trying to like think about the other person and not yourself, it gets so confusing. And then
that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's because if you're thinking about their boundaries, you're never going to figure out their boundaries.
No.
So your boundaries are the ones that matter. Because they've got theirs, so don't even worry about theirs. Theirs might be way farther, more hardcore than yours, or theirs might be like even more hardcore than yours, or they might not have any. But all that matters is you do.
And the thing is like people are gonna be happy with you and accept it, or they're not. And if someone doesn't handle that well, that's a big clue. And sometimes when it's like someone who it's a relationship you can't really just like piece out of super easily, it gets complicated. And I'm not trying to make it seem like it's not, but it is very important that that you're thinking about what is working for you and you're not feeling guilty, because when you are, you can't manage other people's feelings. Like it's not just a thing of like, you shouldn't, but like you fucking can't. Yeah. You can't. And so like there are people that you can do everything for them and they will still be dissatisfied. They will still find a reason to be like, but that wasn't enough. Yeah. And in those cases,
it's not theirs. It's because you did it for them.
Well, also it's just because like they don't know, like being satiated and like having a like, oh, that was great, thank you. Like that like we feel satisfied in our relationship. It's like whether they don't understand how to do it or it's something that they refuse to do. It's like it's just a different kind of it's their own sort of like ask for attention or like the way that they're trying to have proof that you love them or care about them or something. And it could be very genuine to them. But like at the same time, like, is that how you want to live your life? Like my, I know that we're already over. The last thing I'll say about this is my mom had this horrible relationship with her mother-in-law, my German grandma, who I mentioned last time actually. Uh-huh. And I mean, she was just evil to my mom. Like she would write like Schwein. She was German. Pig in like dust in our house to like shame my mom for it being dirty.
Oh my god.
And like she's just one of these people, no matter what you do, she would always, her superpower was finding a way to be unhappy with it.
Wow.
And still to this day, like the German grandmother's still alive. We're not really in touch, but like 100 years old, still alive. My mom like has had all of these health problems, all of these things. She's divorced from my dad. She owes this woman nothing. And she just constantly keeps circling back to like wanting to go and to like visit and like have and like figure out how to like be good in their relationship. And I'm like, how are you going to learn this is never going to happen? And like, go visit your mom. Yeah. Like where she does, but it's like resources are finite. Put them towards the people who make you feel good.
Yeah, there's something about, like, if you're at someone's house and they have a cat that doesn't like you, but like every once in a while I'll be like, oh, 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden it'll be rude, and you're like, oh no, I saw that one that one moment of happiness was worth all of this chase, and that's got to be all of the gnarly negative stuff that comes from her. She must have been pleased at one point, and she's like going back to that drug of that maybe.
I think there's part of that, but I think mostly to speak, on a somewhat more theoretical level, I think that my mom also like doesn't know how to be happy with herself, so she doesn't understand. She's always chasing other people's good opinion because she just like that's just sort of what seems normal to her with her like relationship models and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, it's just heartbreaking that like doesn't, for sometimes it just doesn't go away. Like you're just still,
well, clearly,
I mean I remember like my dad at one point was like drunk on the phone with his dad when I was in high school or something. I was like, did you ever love me? And I'm not trying to make light of it. My dad was an asshole. His dad was an asshole to him. It's the circle of life. And but like, and like that was a weak and sad moment. But I just remember thinking like, you are a grown up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This isn't going to make you feel any better no matter what his answer is.
You've had 40 some years probably to be able to think about this, to know that this is not the way to handle this.
Well, also it's like, this is, it's not, that's an efficient way to say it. That's not the way to handle this. Like, that's not how to deal with these feelings.
You've had a long time to understand that this is not the way to handle it. That maybe this way doesn't work all that well.
Yeah, and also like it's just so like you're chasing like the feeling of like chasing something and like wanting someone to give you something that they've never given to you in your whole life. Or it
was like the promise of it was so strong that it got them stuck in this rut.
Yeah, and I'm not maligning and saying there wasn't love there. I'm not that black and white. I don't think that like, I used to want to get a tattoo that said like, without justice, there can be no love. And it's like, of course, that was idealism. I don't think that that's true. But bell hooks, R.I.P. And so I think that it's just, at a certain point, you just have to look at the evidence and be real about the evidence. And if you keep going back to the well and the well's always dry, stop going back to that well.
Stop going back to the well.
So anyway, that got a little bit off the rails, but I know that surprises you.
Yeah, shocking.
Gentle listeners.
I have to pee. Like I'm about to do it my
Oh my god, are you doing the boundaries thing? You're just like...
well, I have to pee. Okay. Yeah.
We also have to go. So anyway, he's got to pee. We love you.
We love you
so much.
I love you.
I love you. And I thank you for everything. And this is just so wonderful. Please keep your questions rolling in.
Yes.
Tell us what you want from us.
Yes.
We are super excited to do this, and it's clearly Loosey fucking Goosey.
Yeah. Welcome to Loosey Goosey episode 2. Soon to come, Loosey Goosey episode 3.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps more cinched.
I mean, if I had my way, well, I'll be more cinched. Actually, if I'm going to cinch right now, I would pee in my pants. We're going anywhere with this. All right. Anyway, I'm Brian Fancy. See you next time. Mwah.
Yeah.